Hi, my name is Fatal Movie, and I'm a former Smash Ultimate player who has now transferred to being a Melee player. Let's talk about it.
This is entertainment. Peak entertainment right here.
Yeah?
Oh!
We're going to be breaking down this video into 3 different parts. The first part will be about why I decided to make the change, what led me to making the decision to switch between Ultimate to Melee, all that fun stuff. The next part will be about what are the major differences between the 2 games. Obviously, they're 2 different games. One came out in 2001, one came out in 2018, so there's bound to be a couple differences, and we will compare and contrast the 2. And finally, for the last part of the video, I will tell you, yes you, the viewer, if I recommend playing Melee if you're new to the game, if you want to do something else that's not Ultimate, if you want to try something different, I will tell you, do I recommend doing this after me having played this now for a full year? So without further ado, let's get into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Make sure to subscribe, like, leave a comment, rate, whatever you guys do all that fun stuff, and let's just get this going. So the first time I ever picked up a GameCube controller and played Melee was actually in the year 2019. It was the last day of school, one of the last days of school for 7th grade. So I was 13 at the time, and it was a Melee tournament. But it was actually weirdly enough advertised as a Super Mario Smash Bros. Tournament. I was the only one in my friend group who knew what it was, so obviously I had to compete. I did. I got 3rd place. And you might be thinking, wow, Fatal Movie, you're really good for getting 3rd place. I spammed dash attack. I spammed that move. Of all moves to spam on Luigi. By the way, dash attack is not good. For any Melee heads that are new here to this channel, that is not a good move, and you guys know it. So I really didn't do any other Melee tournaments for a while, and instead I focused on Ultimate. I did Ultimate tournaments from 2020 to 2024, 5-ish. The first ever characters I picked up for that were Ganon and Ness. I know, killer combo, but I went back to Luigi. I was known in my college scene as the only Luigi player. Not the best, because someone did co-main the character with a Falco named Shawarma, but I was known as the only solo Luigi player. I got a couple top 8s, once got a 5th place. I beat 1 PR person, or 2 PR people, technically speaking, ever. But it got to the point where I really started to get annoyed of it. So let's talk. So as I mentioned, I really started to pick up steam in my college scene. I attend the College Virginia Tech. I am currently a club officer there now for the Smash Club. But at the time, I was just a player who played Luigi. And this is really where the differences of the game first started for me. I did 1 Melee tournament in 2024, 2025. I was a freshman at the time, and I could kind of understand the game. I did go 0-2, so we're not gonna talk about it. But it was definitely weird because it was my first time playing Melee like that since 2019, and so with Luigi, obviously you need to wave dash and you do all that kind of fun stuff. I didn't wave dash. I jumped up high, which sometimes you can still see in my gameplay. And that's kind of where it originated, was during those early moments of playing Melee, and I would talk to people like AM, I'd talk to people like Sanix, I would talk to people like Tater Tot, who is now the club president, and they would give me some Melee advice, but I didn't really pick up on it later on until the summer of that following year. So at this point, it's the summer of 2025, and I was practicing for Supernova. I did Supernova in 2024, 0-2'd, but I was thinking, okay, I'm going to do Supernova again. I had a lot of fun last year, so we're going to go through it again, right? And then as I was going through it and as I was practicing, I was doing online tournaments, I think once a week at that point, if not a little bit less. And at this point, this is where the differences of the game really started to kick in for me, especially with the meta and how Ultimate is a lot slower than Melee is, because I would just try to play Ultimate and I would try to take it seriously with, you know, trying to fish for grabs. I play Luigi in both games, so I'd fish for grabs, I'd go for 0 deaths, I would try to cheese people on the ledge, but then, like, people would just camp me out. And here's the thing, no credit or no hate to any player I have ever played. I understand you guys just did what it took to win, and I fully respect that, but in terms of the meta, it really got me not really bored with Ultimate, but it got me so deflated, and I was just like, I put so much effort towards this game, I have over 1,000 hours, I should be this amazing player, but I'm not. And I was just like, I can't really do this, so I need something else to play. I need a different game. But what other game could I really go competitive in? Hypixel? That was years ago on the channel. I'm not doing that again. So I was like, what other game could I do? And I stumbled upon Super Smash Bros. Melee. So now we're at the date, June 24th, 2025. And this is kind of where I started to hit my stride, I guess, because I wasn't great still, but I was actually taking the game seriously, and that's what mattered. And, you know, I think I improved a little bit because my first gameplay, well, yeah, it was bad. So it was bad, but over time, I learned how to properly wave dash. By the way, fun fact, I wave dash with tap jump with Luigi. Every single person in the Smash Club who's played Melee at Tech has called me insane at least once. But I promise it works. So, you know, I wave dash with tap jump. I didn't know how to ledge dash. I'm still kind of bad at it to this day. Don't know how to L cancel. Still kind of bad at it to this day. But, like, I was learning the game and I was actually having fun with it because it's so much faster paced and because, you know, people play in your face. But also people, they play as strategic as Ultimate, but they play so much faster, and I really love it. So I did an online tournament before Supernova, but then I did Supernova. Technically, okay, I O2'd, but I count it as a 1-2 simply because the TO got it wrong, and I faced off against this Puff player, and I kicked his ass. So to that Puff player, I'm sorry, but I'm counting my win over you. I don't know who you are, but I'm counting the win. So then, flash forward a little bit, it's now we're in college, and I'm doing Smash Club now, and I do both Ultimate and Melee to start things off with, because I did do Ultimate in Supernova 2. Didn't know 2 this time. I beat a Joker player, but, like, I'm now doing Ultimate and Melee, and I make the shift to do only Melee, and I'm gonna be honest, it probably may be the happiest I've been doing Smash Club. Once again, nothing against any of the players. All you guys are awesome. You know I love you, but it was just about the meta of the game and how I just got so annoyed with it. So all these different players that I would face off against, like AM, Sanix, Wahoo, SPU Diver, REA, more on REA later, PSI Whirlwind, Dedo, Canor, Sandwich KCR, and if any other players I missed, I'm sorry. Like all you guys were also all phenomenal. I love playing with you. I wish we could play more, and also Quapples. I mean, him and I, fun fact, went to the same high school, but like, I would play against all these players, and all these players, I'm going to be honest, were better than me at the beginning. Yes, I would win against Sandwich KCR. Yes, I would win against Canor. Yes, I would eventually win against REA, but, like, they were all better than me. Like, fun fact, I think the score right now between me and SPU Diver is, like, 13-0 in his favor. It's bad. It's bad. So, like, it got to the point where, like, all these players were really good, and I was like, I want to be as good as these players. I want to win a tournament. So I just practice, right? At one point, the set score between me and Arya was 13-0, and then, like, the tournament, I finally beat him. I popped off so hard, right? Like, I would just play so much, and then I got to the Arcadian in the spring semester. I believe this was in February, and I finally won a tournament. So I finally felt, like, gratified. I finally felt, like, proud of myself that I did something really well. And, you know, from there, I kind of had a slump. I just get 5th places over and over again. But I would try my absolute hardest, and that's where we are today with me now playing Melee and practicing for Supernova once again. So, but that is the whole reason why I started playing Melee. Now that we're done with the first section of the video, let's get to the second section of the video, which is what are the differences between both Super Smash Bros. Melee and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We're going to be starting first with the core gameplay and the meta of the game. When you look at the tier list for both games, those now the most recent tier list on Ult rank, Luigi, my boy, top 10. But a lot of the characters that thrive in the current meta of Ultimate are the campy characters, are characters that just, like, they need a timeout. You know, Ultimate is a game where you just bleed out your opponent. That's kind of what you do. You just bleed out your opponent until, like, it's just bad for them, right? So I think the biggest example of this recently is that there's a clip going around on the Reddit of EEVisu watching Peanut and I believe Syrup in a timeout game. And he ends the stream early because he's like, it's just timeouts. I would love to cheer for NA, but dude, it's just timeouts. It's 5 a.m. I mean, to be fair, it was 5 a.m. to him. Before, if he ever comes on this video and he sees me coming at him, no hate to you, man. It was 5 a.m. But, like, you know, like, that's kind of the meta of Ultimate. And then with Melee, it's this fast-paced, like, very in-your-face gameplay, but you also have, like, these creative combos that you come up with on the spot, and, like, immense punish games, right? Like, Fox, Falco, Sheik, Puff. Like, Puff, yes, is a campy character, but you can play her fast, like how Hungrybox has been doing in the most recent years, right? So that's kind of where the core differences are between those games. And then, let's get to the biggest difference between the game, in my opinion, or the games, in my opinion. So the biggest difference between the games, in my opinion, actually comes in the engine themselves. So Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has a buffer system. I'm going to flash up on the screen right now how many frames the buffer system is, because at the time of recording this, I don't know it, like, purely just from memory. I don't know what the buffer is. Melee, there's no buffer system at all. So a lot of your inputs have to be absolutely frame perfect. Like, so for example, when you see Cody Schwab do a ledge dash every single time with Fox, that is a frame perfect input. When you see Hungrybox dodge the DI, or like DI out of Fox up air, up throw up air, that is a frame perfect input. When you see Zane like do his grabs, those are frame perfect inputs, because that's how precise you have to be with Melee. Melee, it hurts your hands. It literally hurts your hands to play. Right, that's why people have box controllers, and also there are box controllers with Ultimate. My first round in Supernova last year was against a Meat Brawler with a box controller. Kudos to them; they're a very good player. I just did not see it coming, but that's kind of the difference there. So that's the biggest difference in my opinion. But now let's get to like the tier list and stuff like that with the difference between Melee and Ultimate. So with Melee and Ultimate, I already kind of referred to it with campy characters being up there in the top. So, like, you have your Steve, you have Snake, Game & Watch, Rob, Minmin. The #1 player in the world right now, Doramigi, is a Minmin player, but he plays more aggressive than most, so you gotta respect it. Like, Sonic is also, like, Sonic is a prime example, too, with Sonic's obviously piloting the character, Wrath, Ken piloting the character, but you do have your hype characters. This is not to say that there have not been success with not hype character, or with hype characters. So, with, for example, MK Leo with Joker, right? He made Joker this top tier character that he was always supposed to be. With another character like Cloud, right? You see Spargo piloting Cloud to a #1 in the world placement. And even in the past with Tweak, you got Diddy Kong, you got Wario with Gluttony. And I'm biased, but Luigi, I'm kidding, Luigi's not hype in Ultimate. Luigi's hype in Melee, but not in Ultimate. And now we're gonna get to the next difference in the game, the difference between Luigi, because I made the character in both games. And now we're on to the last part of this section of the video, which is where the differences between Luigi and Melee and Luigi in Ultimate. The first difference that we're gonna start with is actually in the voice lines. So in Melee, Luigi's voice was basically Mario's, but pitched up 14%. In Ultimate, it was the recorded lines from Brawl that he used. This is when Luigi got his own really distinct voice. We saw this in Luigi's Mansion, and it continued from Brawl to Ultimate. And then from there, how does this differ in gameplay? Obviously, stuff like L canceling and wave dashing are not a thing. Directional air dodges are a thing in Ultimate too, but you can still have your jump afterwards, unlike in Melee where you lose your jump. So that's also a big core difference in the games, and it does actually influence the way how some people play Ultimate compared to Melee. But now for Luigi. In terms of the tier list, Luigi is in the mid-tier for Melee. He's considered viable. Rat Monster has been showing off that Luigi can do it, and he almost has done it, especially at Pat's House 5. Whereas with Ultimate, it is Waru, Luigi, and Waka leading the charge. As well as that, in terms of the tier list as well, Luigi is now in the top 10. We discussed this earlier with the tier list differences, but Luigi is now a top tier character in Ultimate, and this is because of his impeccable punish game. So with Luigi in Ultimate, the main punish part is the fact that pretty much any input can lead to a kill. It was at first the stigma that you had, like, as long as you don't get grabbed, you can beat Luigi. You know, Luigi had his infamous 0 to death starting at the beginning of the game. But over time, it evolved more into, even if you lose one neutral interaction, that alone can lead to a kill, and that has been mainly Raru piloting it and taking Luigi to many majors. And with Melee, I feel like with Luigi, especially with me and how I play Luigi in this game, it's more or less like wave dashing around, moving constantly to mix up your opponents and looking for your opportunities to get into the combo. As soon as you get in, it's kind of the same thing as Ultimate, where a lot of Luigi's moves do combo into each other, which is very nice. But, you know, some moves are slower, some moves are faster, so let's talk about the differences in the moves. The first two moves I'm going to bring up the difference in are Fair and Dare. So Fair and Dare, they're basically the same thing in terms of animation-wise between both the games. You know, it's the chop and I guess, yeah, the spike down with the feet, I guess. I guess like a Luigi drill. I don't really know how to like talk about it other ways. I'm not really doing a script for this video, but even if I wrote a script, I don't know what I would do. So the main differences are what they are used for, right? So spikes are actually true in Ultimate because there's no such thing as meteor canceling. So like you can in Ultimate, like the down air will kill with the spike, but also it is used as a combo tool as well as Fair. Fair is also used as a combo tool, but it's also used as a good edge guarding gimp as well as down air, which are both used for melee. The main difference between melee and Ultimate in terms of the moves is that the moves in melee are much stronger. What do I mean by that? They kill like much faster, and that's one of the differences I noticed very early on with Luigi in melee compared to Ultimate, is that Fair and Dare kill really reliably, and there's multiple setups. Like you can do Nair to Fair, down throw to Fair, down throw to Dare, like up throw to Fair, up throw to Dare, depending on the characters. Just the moves raw if you want to do it like that and get a hardcore read. So there's a lot you can do with that. But in terms of the main differences as well, there's also the Cyclone, where the Cyclone can be used as a recovery tool. It's not as good as it is in Ultimate. Ultimate is basically just cheese the move. It has invincibility on frame 1 if it's in the air, frame 4 when it's on the ground. It has a wind box that can either push you in or pull you in or push you out if you're facing the wrong direction if you're in the air. There's a lot that the move can do, and it's actually so ridiculous about what the move can do. Besides that, obviously, wave dashing, moving around, Luigi is a lot more slippery in melee compared to Ultimate. And besides that, it has the same disadvantage state where the air is not safe for Luigi, and it's the same thing in Ultimate. So besides that, there really aren't too many notable differences. And that is pretty much where it ends with Luigi in melee versus Luigi in Ultimate. The final part of the video, do I recommend playing melee if you're an Ultimate player or just trying out the game a slight bit? Melee is much harder to pick up. It's a much more of a skill difference compared, like a noob compared to like an experienced player than Ultimate is. But overall, what I say, like if you asked a question in the video, and we did ask this question, do I recommend playing Melee even a year after playing it myself? I do. Melee is a very good game. In terms, if you want a fast pace, you know, people are just scrapping out. Silver lobbies are for you. Trust me, I know best. If you want to play a game that's fun competitively, it's very fun competitively. You can choose, like, if you do competitively, choose a top tier, choose a high tier, or if you're like me, choose a mid tier if you want to learn that. The reason why I chose Luigi in the first place for both games is because I play Luigi in any game I can, and this was just no exception to that. Besides that, this game is so much fun. It has good single player. I didn't really bring it up. There's good single player. There's multiplayer. Online is fun. But playing this as a competitive game, it's some of the most fun I've ever had doing competitive games. I've been doing Smash Bros. In general, actually, for 7 years. I've been doing it competitively for 7 years. My oldest tournament, like I said, was in middle school. And I just recently did one in my region for Melee, and I had so much fun. Yeah, sure, I lost badly, but I don't care. It was so much fun, so much of a blast. And with that, I fully recommend it. Alright, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe. Please subscribe. This took a month. This took a month to do, but I'm very happy I made this video. Leave a like, rate, comment, sub. Be on the lookout for upcoming videos in the future. I'm gonna keep on doing like the series where I kill with every single move. Mario's coming up. I finished that already. Kirby's coming up after that. We're gonna do other characters. We're gonna do a sub-stage playthrough too, because I think that'd be fun. But yeah, stay tuned for upcoming content. Subscribe, and I'll see you later. Peace.